Panamá es para los panameños, el canal es nuestro, de los panameños, fuera Donald Trump.
What's happening here in Panama right now with the police as well?
Marco Rubio, narco terrorist, very terrorist. He's the principal terrorist in the world.
We have very types, very different corruption, like in the government.
Hay que matar, los gringos nos vienen a invadir.
Today I am in Panama, and today we're going to be asking the Panamanians how they feel about potentially losing the Panama Canal to the United States. Donald Trump has talked about taking back the Panama Canal, even mentioning it in his inaugural speech.
China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
And it's extremely important for you watching this video to understand the history of the Panama Canal with the United States in order to understand why Donald Trump thinks the United States should take it back and why he believes that the United States deserves to take it back. In the early 1900s, traders wanted a more direct shipping route from the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean, and in 1903, the US president at the time, Teddy Roosevelt, agreed to build the Panama Canal and help Panama seek independence from Colombia, and in return, Panama gave the United States the Panama Canal Zone. At the time, the US spent over $350 million, which is equivalent to $15 billion nowadays, and it is estimated that over 35,000 Americans died in the building of the canal. Nearly 80 years later, the United States President Jimmy Carter signed a treaty giving the Panama Canal Zone back to Panama for literally nothing.
They gave it away.
And the conditions of this treaty say that the cost for boats to pass must be just, reasonable, and equitable, and that there will be no discrimination against any nation, making the Panama Canal a neutral zone for all countries. But now, this is where it gets super interesting. China currently owns and controls 2 ports on both sides of the canal, and right behind me is one of the ports named the Port of Balboa. And China has committed to also invest $1.3 billion into Panama to build bridges over the canal, expanding their Belt and Road Initiative, which would increase China's power and reach across the world. And this has really upset Trump, especially because the United States helped build the canal, and this canal is supposed to be a neutral zone. Trump feels like the Panamanian government has broken their treaty they signed with the United States.
The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated.
This is an extremely interesting situation here in Panama, and it turns out nearly 80% of you guys watching this video right now are not subscribed, so go ahead and subscribe. And if we get to 400,000 subscribers, I will go to the most liked comment down below. And now that you know the backstory of the Panama Canal, let's go talk to the Panamanians about how they feel about potentially losing the Panama Canal to the United States. How do you feel about losing the Panama Canal to the United States?
Losing the Panama Canal is non-negotiable. We can talk about other stuff, but the Panama Canal should remain Panamanian.
Who actually runs the Panama Canal Zone? Is it the people of Panama, or is it China?
Well, it's really Panamanians. No Chinese people here.
Is it true that China does control 2 ports coming in and coming out of the Panama Canal?
Yeah, China does control 2 ports, the Cristobal port in the Atlantic side and Balboa in the Pacific side. If you're seeing this, Mr. Trump, if you think that the issue is both ports at both ends of the canal, just buy the ports. Don't, backstab your allies. We love the U.S., we want to have a good relationship with the U.S. And you're just giving fuel to the flame of people that are anti-American. Now they have something to work with.
Would you be willing to fight for Panama if the United States did invade?
I have no option. I have to do it.
How do you feel about Panama potentially losing the Panama Canal to the United States?
Es un tema bastante delicado que tienen que tomar en cuenta los poderes o el gobierno, ya que el secretario de Estados Unidos está llegando en el día de hoy, si no me equivoco, y van a tener una reunión el domingo.
While filming this video, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio is also here, and I will include updates and the results of the meeting with the Panamanian president throughout this video, and I will even go to the protests that erupted outside of their meeting, and I do gotta say, things did get absolutely insane. Would you support Donald Trump taking back the Panama Canal?
No. Once a treaty is signed, it belongs to the country that it belongs to.
What if that country broke the treaty? I'm not saying they have broken it, but what if it comes out that they actually are charging the United States more than they are charging, for instance, a country like China to bring their boats in? Would that justify the United States wanting to take back the Panama Canal?
No, that calls for negotiation.
So do you think Donald Trump is being lied to about the information he's getting about the Panama
Most
Canal?
of the information he's talking about is not as true. The real thing is Panama Canal is full administrated by Panamanians in all the areas. Most of the workers, Panamanians, is full administrated by Panama.
If the United States were to invest more money into Panama, do you think Panama would cut off their business with China?
Probably yes, I said.
And while we were at the Panama Canal, we got word that the first protest broke out at the University of Panama because of Marco Rubio's arrival, so we headed over there to see what was happening. So right now at this university, there's a protest going on because Marco Rubio has arrived here. The people here are very angry. Right now you have students throwing rocks at the police right here, and they're shooting back some sort of gun. They're shooting back at the students right here that are throwing rocks at them. The students were just throwing rocks. The police came back, started shooting at them. They're shooting at them right now, and then they just threw tear gas everywhere. And now we're hiding here inside of some neighborhood right now, trying to stay away from any of the tear gas and the guns going off right now. It looks like they're shooting rubbers, but I don't know what's happening. What's happening? ¿Qué está pasando?
Well, you know, Trump said he's gonna take back the canal, bro. Basically, these guys are like left wing, and they are like against, American imperialism and all the shit. And basically, they are protesting against Trump. If you see that like red letter over there, it's like Trump, go f yourself or something like that. And basically, they are protesting against Trump's speech, against like we're going to take back the canal, and China is controlling over the canal and stuff like that. And basically, they are like protesting against this, but it's a lot of bullshit. But these people are like retarded. So I think they are retarded. The USA has helped us a lot over the years. They gave us the canal and stuff like that, and we should be grateful.
I've never seen anything like that before.
Do you guys think Trump should take back the Panama Canal?
So no. I'm a Trump supporter. I love my Trump, but I mean, take back. He's saying it because he thinks it's owned by the Chinese, but I honestly think it has more to do with something else.
He's just doing it for money for himself. And he's already in debt. He's already in debt to China.
How angry are the students inside of this university that Trump's trying to take back the Panama Canal?
I think they're very angry. Most of the students in this university specifically are left wing. In Latin America, left wing is mostly anti-Yankee, anti-imperialism. They are pro-Russia, pro-China, and stuff like that. Most of the people here are like against the U.S.
These police officers right here, these guns they have tear gas on the top of them. They shoot them out. They're sending them into the university right now. That's where you're seeing all of that smoke right there inside the university is from those guns right there. When you were in the car, you were talking about corruption here in Panama. What kind of corruption are you guys seeing here?
We have very different corruption. Like in the government, we have corruption in like the canal administration, a lot of bribes.
And do you think the United States is getting ripped off by Panama?
Yeah. I personally know engineers that work on the canal, and since the 2000 to 2025, the tariffs for the ships has been like multiplied by 8, and it's very high. And they are like charging like 8 times the amount of money that they should charge for the barks, for the ships.
Just for the United States?
Just for the U.S., yeah. And for other countries, it's like 5 times, 3 times, but for the U.S., it's like 8 times, and they are. I think Trump has a point.
Wow, so you're saying the United States is paying 8 times as much?
As the 2000, yeah. They should be paying like maybe twice.
And the other countries are only getting charged 5 times as much?
Yeah.
Wow. So the people that are saying that the United States is not getting ripped off, they are lying?
They are lying, yeah. Usually they are like puppets from like the media and stuff like that. But they are being ripped off. They are being like charged 8 times, 5 times. Yeah, you can go to speak to engineers on the canal.
And how do you personally know that the United States is getting charged more than other ships?
Oh, I personally know engineers that have told me that. And also the money that is coming in is about $8 billion a year. They are using that money for different purposes instead of, helping the infrastructure, the public system, the education, the medical system and stuff like that. They are using the money for their own purpose. So that's what I'm thinking, that if they take back the administration of the canal, I'm really up to it. I mean, 99% of the Panamanians are not seeing money from the canal. Only 1%.
So the United States is just getting ripped off right now. What do you guys think about Donald Trump trying to take back the Panama Canal?
Creemos que la soberanía de nuestro país se respeta. Los tratados es unas cosas que no viene desde ahora, ya viene de hace muchísimos años. Sabemos que hay una mala administración y por eso Trump quiere averiguar todas las cosas que están ocurriendo en nuestro país. Lo importante es que la soberanía de nuestro país es algo de todos los panameños.
And you, ma'am, would you rather have China or the United States in control of the Panama Canal?
Preferiría que los gringos tuvieran el canal, porque hay plata para panameños.
And now is there money for everybody? Ahora hay dinero para cada persona?
No, no hay nada.
¿Prefiere que China o los Estados Unidos tiene control de Panamá?
Estados Unidos.
How do you feel about Donald Trump wanting to take back the Panama Canal?
I think that Trump doesn't want to take back the Canal of Panama. What he's trying to do is trying to say that the Chinese people or the Chinese government have to go.
Yeah, because the original treaty states that the Panama Canal is a neutral zone. Do you believe it is still a neutral zone with China being on both sides of the canal?
That would depend. Yeah, we know that the Chinese government is communist.
So do you think Trump is being fed lies about what is actually happening on the Panama Canal? Or do you think it's justifiable for him to say he wants to take it back?
I would not say that that is a lie, because we know that here in Panama, we have the Chinese, like Hutchinson Port, and as of the construction of the two bridges, and also the tunnel beneath the canal that is going to be the metro, that is running through the Chinese.
Wow, so the Chinese actually has a lot more control than just the two ports on both sides of the canal. They're also building bridges, and they're building a metro underneath the canal.
Yes.
Wow, that is super interesting. I had no idea that China was also planning on building a metro underneath the Panama Canal. I knew they were building bridges, but I didn't know they were building that many bridges. If you ask me, that's a little suspicious, because if they're building those bridges over the Panama Canal, who knows what they could do. For instance, say one of those bridges closes or collapses like the one in Baltimore did, it shuts down the trade in that area, that bay, for a very long time. Or for instance, the canal for a very long time, if that were to happen here at the Panama Canal. It was now time for Marco Rubio's meeting with the Panamanian president, and a large protest started to gather outside of the meeting. ¿Por qué están aquí hoy día?
Para defender nuestra nación, nuestra soberanía que nos costó mártires. Estamos por defender nuestra nación como panameños.
What's your message to Donald Trump? ¿Cuál es su mensaje para Donald Trump?
Que se equivoca si piensa que Panamá es una colonia norteamericana. Sigue siendo panameño y va a seguir siendo panameño. Panamá es para los panameños, hay una sola bandera, un solo territorio. Como en toda América Latina, tiene que respetar, no solamente nuestro país, tiene que respetar toda América Latina. Cada país tiene su soberanía y nuestra soberanía la vamos a defender a capa y espada, como sea necesario. Con piedras, con palos, no tenemos un ejército, pero la población digna.
Do you think Panama will lose the canal to the United States?
Absolutely not. The treaty was signed by both countries in 1977. The treaty is irreversible. Also,
do you think China and the company that owns the ports is suspicious, and do you think the United States should be worried about them?
They do not own any port. They have a concession to transport on and off, put on and take off the ships, the goods that come through. Therefore, they are not owners at all.
Do you think Donald Trump has any reason to try and take back the Panama Canal?
Look, his words are full of lies.
What's your message to the United States?
Donald Trump, desde Panamá te enviamos los panameños. Tú no eres bien recibido aquí, ni tú ni Marco Rubio. No queremos. Estados Unidos está acostumbrado a maltratar y avasallar a los países más pequeños. Fuera Estados Unidos de Panamá. Fuera Estados Unidos y Marco Rubio de Panamá. No eres grato en Panamá, en nuestra tierra. La tierra panameña es de los panameños. Fuera.
¿Qué es su mensaje para Donald Trump y Marco Rubio?
Donald Trump, aquí en Panamá no te queremos, mucho menos a Marco Rubio. Panamá es para los panameños, el canal es nuestro, de los panameños. Fuera Donald Trump. Los mártires hablaron claro, bases no. Panamá es libre, soberano.
What should happen with the Chinese here inside Panama? ¿Qué debería pasar con los chinos aquí en Panamá?
Los chinos en Panamá, como en otros países, igual ellos tienen negocio, pero ellos no mandan mi país, Panamá. Panamá es de los panameños. Los chinos no tienen que ver nada con nuestro canal. Eso lo dice Donald Trump porque se lo quiere tomar de sus manos, pero no lo vamos a permitir porque el canal es nuestro, tampoco es de los chinos.
Trump está mintiendo, diciendo...
Trump está mintiendo porque así como se quiere apoderar del mundo, se quiere apoderar de Panamá. Y aquí en Panamá no lo vamos a permitir.
What's going on right now?
They're saying that the protest can be only done to here because over there we got the president's house and Marco Rubio is right there. They're meeting at 10:15. So they're saying that this is the limitation. of the protest. We can protest, but up until here.
¿Qué está pasando? What's happening?
Está pasando que Mulino, el vendepatria de Panamá, que es presidente, está de espalda al pueblo, con el gringo Rubio tratando de negociar a espalda del pueblo. Tienen un dispositivo de policía aquí. Esperamos verlo cuando los gringos vengan. El pueblo panameño habla alto y claro. No aceptamos ningún convenio con Rubio. No aceptamos la imposición gringa.
Look, they're burning the United States flag right now. And they're burning Marco Rubio's face as well. That's what's happening here in Panama right now with the police as well.
Marco Rubio, narco terrorist, very terrorist. He's the principal terrorist in the world. Marco Rubio and Trump.
Do you think that's fair to put a swastika next to Marco Rubio's face?
But it's Nazis. It's Nazi.
Right here, they were burning a flag of the United States. They also had photos of Marco Rubio and Donald Trump, and on it they had some swastikas. They were calling Donald Trump and Marco Rubio Nazis. Right here you have the police and all their riot gear. That building right there is where Marco Rubio and the President Molino is currently meeting right now to talk about what is happening at the Panama Canal right now. The results of the meeting were actually very interesting, but I think it's important that we still get some more opinions from some of the people here in Panama as to who they would rather have in the country, China or the United States, and if Panama is actually breaking the treaty they signed with the United States. How do you feel about potentially losing the Panama Canal to the United States?
Well, first of all, that is something that won't happen.
And if it does come out that China is actually operating at the Panama Canal, do you think that means that Panama is breaking the treaty with the United States?
There is something that you need to know. In the Panama Canal, only Panamanian people can work there, all right? If for some reason you have evidence, maybe Donald Trump has, of course, we will respect, we will understand that we are breaking the law. But in this case, that is something that is not happening.
Would you rather have the United States or China in control of the Panama Canal?
I prefer China, the Chinese people.
Really, and why so? Who do you trust more, China or the United States?
Well, in that moment, China, man.
¿Ustedes preferirían tener los chinos o los Estados Unidos aquí en Panamá?
Chino, los chinos.
The kids want China. Los niños quieren China, pero usted, papá, quiere los Estados Unidos or China aquí en Panamá?
Estados Unidos.
And what would you do if the United States did try to invade Panama? ¿Qué haría usted si los Estados Unidos viniera aquí?
Bala. Yo agarro las armas. Ese man nos invade. Aquí va de muerto. No, hay que matar. Los gringos nos vienen a invadir.
¿Mataría a los gringos?
50. 50 lo mataría.
Si hay más de 50?
100. Los cabrones son malos. Nos quieren invadir. Aquí.
No.
¡Pah!
Me mataría.
Hey!
Today at a protest, they were burning Marco Rubio, Donald Trump's face, the American flag, and they had swastikas next to Marco Rubio and Donald Trump. What does that say about how the people here are feeling about what's going on in the Panama Canal?
What they're feeling about, they not even know what's going on, though. People in the 5 cent, they don't do things like that. If you have some common sense, you ain't gonna be fighting for something that somebody else stealing. And you're not even making money out of it.
How do you feel about Panama potentially losing the Panama Canal, and do you think they are breaking the treaty with the United States?
They do be breaking the treaty with the United States, because if you give all this contract, this very important port to China, they give the contract to these Chinese people. So,
and what do you think happens with Panama?
Corruption. That's what happened. Corruption in the Panama Canal administration.
Do you support the United States trying to take back the Panama Canal?
I mean, okay, this is kind of complicated right now, you know, like if they not doing their job, somebody got to take it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they not, Panama Canal money is not doing anything for Panama. The education is not, it ain't worth it. The self-insurance here in Panama is going broke, so we need to work some more years to get retired. I ain't getting retired. You know what I mean? They be stealing all over. So why they didn't use the money from the Panama Canal to support the health insurance?
So do the Panamanian people see anything from the money that the Panama Canal generates?
No. Only the ones that's working the Panama Canal, they just get their salary. I mean, they earn it. That's fantastic. That's the way it's supposed to be. But like they be doing projects or anything to benefit the population? No, they don't. They're not doing anything at all.
Should the United States be worried about the involvement that China has inside of this country of Panama?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why do you think Marco Rubio, Donald Trump have talked about it so much, and they say they're going to take it back? And do you think they are rightfully saying that? Do you think they deserve to be able to say it's our time to take it back?
To take it back? Okay. So I mean, the agreement said if they're not administrating right, the Panama Canal the right way, the United States have the right to take it back. So that's the effect. I mean, that's cause and effect. They not being they are not administrating good the Panama Canal, and they're not doing loyal businesses. You know, to be honest.
Do you trust the administration that's in control of the Panama Canal right now?
Of course not.
Should the United States trust that administration?
Well, Panama, sorry about this. No. No.
Now for the results of the meeting between Marco Rubio and the Panamanian president. The Panamanian president said that he will not renew the contract with China regarding the Belt and Road Initiative. However, this is extremely important to note down. He did not make it clear that they will not be able to finish the project that China is currently working on, like the bridges and underground metro. This is what he said.
The Belt and Road Initiative no será renovado por mi gobierno. Vamos a estudiar la posibilidad de si se puede terminar antes o no.
I personally remain speculative. Even though this looks like a win for the United States, the renewal contract from China is in about 2 years, and a lot can happen in 2 years, and I can't imagine China is happy with this decision, which could cause even more tension in the region. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and I will see you next video.